Hey guys, Von Jean here, and I wanted to get into how to find the fuel for your passions. So there's an overlying concept that I want to get into right away, and it's called the dual drive concept. Positive drives can be things like enthusiasm for something, maybe an inspiration to become an idea that you have in your head, or wanting to see yourself bring something to life. On the inverse of that, negative drives are frustrations with a particular result. It can even be anger with a certain situation or no longer wanting to be in a particular space, whether that be mentally, physically, emotionally, that kind of thing. So those are the two distinct sides of drives. So I'm gonna give some examples about myself really quick, but I want you to try to think of some things in your own life that can be an example of positive or negative drives. I'll start with what I do for a living. So I'm a software engineer. I am a freelance software engineer. I actually have my own software business. And honestly, this was mostly fueled by negative drive. I got so tired of having bosses that I didn't like, staff that I didn't like, just all these other things. And I'm sure you can probably relate. Maybe you don't like your job. Maybe you don't like some people that you work with. Or you like them, but they annoy you. You're tired of taking orders from someone who doesn't know what they're talking about. In a nutshell, to be blunt, I got tired of working for losers, just to be completely honest. And if you were my leadership before, it is what it is. You know, if the shoe fits, put it on and go for a walk. So my software business was mainly fueled by me not wanting to work for other people. And so every time I sat down to study software, I always thought about, I don't want to work for people like that anymore. I probably shouldn't say losers, but whatever. I would honestly say that we can find negative motivation a lot easier. There's a lot of things in life that we do because we want to avoid bad circumstances or we don't want to experience something again. Maybe not necessarily out of fear, but just not wanting to deal with that kind of situation. You know, I love what I do now, more so because I love not working with people that I don't really like to work with. I'm trying to be nice because, you know, this is YouTube and I can't say everything I want to say, but I'm sure you can relate. There's a lot of bad leadership out there, especially if you were in the military before, you know exactly what I'm talking about. A good example, as far as positive motivations, is my ability to speak Japanese. So if you've been there before, you know I speak it in my videos and all that. And I lived there for 10 years. I'm not gonna go over that again. But a big part of me learned Japanese because one, I was there and had to adjust. But two, I was there so long and I'm going back this year that it came to a point where I thought about my future, whether it's business, maybe finding a wife and all that. And I realized if I'm not completely fluent in this language, it's going to hinder me. And so a lot of the times when I went to study and go practice my speaking or talk to people, this is what I thought about. Not necessarily thinking about marriage all day or business all day, but just the fact that I'm probably gonna be in the country for a very long time. In saying this, I really want you to think about your own life. As you think about your goals, your hobbies, maybe your future business, things you want to accomplish, I want you to start putting these into one of those two categories. And it doesn't have to be black and white. Some things have all negative motivation. Some things have all positive motivation. Some things have a good mix of both. It's really up to you and what your goals are. Also, in this, don't be afraid to get a little bit wild. You know, it's only going to be you reading it. You don't have to act like someone else is going to open up your journal or go into your Google Docs and check out what you've been writing. Be as open as you want to be. You know, learning Japanese for me, a big part of it was dating. I can't deny that. Especially when you live there for so long and you're just on the train all the time and people come up and talk to you. And then you start seeing that a lot of them like you, it's kind of just happens. So, actionable steps. Number one, write down that thing that you're trying to achieve someday. Simply just write it down. You want to get it on its own page, preferably, whether you have to use a notebook to start or Notion like I do, or you can start with Google Docs. You can do whatever you want, but you want to get this on one page and write it out. You don't have to write it in detail, just maybe write a brief idea about it and start there. So maybe you want to learn an instrument. Maybe you want to make more money. Maybe you want to learn to speak better. Maybe you want to get in shape. Maybe you want to play a different sport or learn a new language. You know, I can go on, but just think of something that you really want to do and get that down. Step 2 is to make 2 columns on that page, one titled positive drives and one titled negative drives. Now, this is the funnest part. Step 3 is to fill in as much information as possible in these 2 columns. It may take 1 page, it may take 2. You might be able to write an entire essay. It's all up to you. But just get it down in detail. You can add why, you can add what got you there. Just add something that's quite compelling to you that you're going to be able to go back and look at. If you're like me, you can maybe start a business because you don't like working for other people. Or you can get into something because you want to avoid certain situations. I'm not saying live your life in fear. Please don't do that. Address the fears. But if you just want to avoid certain things and that's your fuel, use it. You know, I do MMA. If you've been here before, you know, that's one of my passions. One of the things that got me into MMA was I grew up playing Super Smash Bros. I'm sure you know what that is. And my favorite character overall in most of the games is Captain Falcon. So as a kid, I liked playing as Captain Falcon. It is what it is. I played Street Fighter as well. I played other fighting games, but I really liked Captain Falcon. And so when I got sent to Japan in the military, I said, well, I guess it's the time to start combat sports if there's any other time than now. And that was almost 12, 13 years ago. And to this day, I still think about various video game things when I go train. I look a lot different, but mentally, a lot of it's the same. So find whatever works for you. If it's silly, if it's funny, if it's serious, it doesn't really matter. It can be in any part of the spectrum you want it to be. I'm gonna say this over and over again, but this is a video where you'll have to come back and revisit it and continue to do the steps, because this is not something you're going to be able to do in one day or one sitting. It's actually going to take you a long time, especially if you're like me and you have an extremely long list of things you like to do. And step 4, the more continuous step, is that anytime you feel lazy or you feel like you're doubting yourself or you feel like something may not work out, you need to go and revisit this list and read it word for word, maybe out loud, maybe just kind of have it on your phone, but you need to reread it over and over again when you start to feel that doubt. I'm really passionate about this because this is something that's tremendously helped my life, especially when I was learning to develop software. I don't know if you're a software engineer or maybe you had experience coding, but it can be quite stressful, especially if you don't know what you're doing. JavaScript's messing up, you got 20 bugs, you're all over the place, you're frustrated, you can't find the answer. A lot of the times, what we need to do is just go back and reference what our drives are. And so if you have it written down, rather than trying to remember it, you can just go look at your document or your sheet of paper and say, okay, well, this is why I started. Let me keep this in mind. Maybe you don't like your boss. You know, I'm not gonna tell you what to do, but find those things, write them down, and really revisit them anytime you need to. And so that's pretty much it. A lot of this work you'll have to do on your own. This is just the overlying concept of the dual drive that I wanted to lay out. I will warn you, do not try to do everything today. If you have a lot of things in your life that you're trying to correct, don't try to sit down and correct everything in one day. Maybe pick 1 or 2 topics and just start there. And then over time, you can start to add in more. But again, don't overwhelm yourself. Relax, take it easy, and just try to take it step by step. This is kind of a long-term process, but it's really going to change your life. So take the time, do it in detail. Please don't skip steps, write it down somewhere. Even if it's on a napkin for now and you stuff it in your pocket, cool, do that. It helps out more than I can really express in this video, but give it the time, and over time, you'll see the results from it. And again, come back to this video when you need to. save it in a playlist, or just type Von Jean. I don't think there's any other Von Jeans on the internet. I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure I'm the only one. Just type it in, come back, watch it, take what you need, and then get back off the computer. I really think this will help you out. It's helped me out so much. I use it every day. I do it for just about everything in my life. If you found this helpful, leave a like, subscribe. I really prefer comments. I don't care about the numbers. I more so care about what you guys get out of the video. Maybe come back a couple months from now and tell me how this works out for you. I think it's gonna help you out a lot though. Anyways, you should like and subscribe though. If you don't, I'm gonna send this thing to your house tonight, and I will see you in the next one. Peace.